Hello, everybody. Welcome into Talking Fitchburg on this Thursday, February 17th, 2022. I'm Jeremy Crosby. Hope you had a wonderful day. Glad you're tuning with us for another edition of Talking Fitchburg, a cold or cooler day than yesterday, as that storm now is passing through. Snow staying further to the south as predicted, and we missed out on another one. Still chances for more snow coming up. So you can check back in on the update tomorrow into the weekend. But I have not heard of anything substantial compared to the storm that's missing us. But it's okay that it missed us too, because I don't know. There was going to be a lot of sloppy mess on that one. So I think it's okay that it passed us. And we got treated to some good temperatures yesterday. I hope we got outside and took advantage of some of that. Some places getting up in close to 50 yesterday, which is just crazy. But hey, we got a taste for it and we liked it. So hopefully we'll have those temperatures coming back soon. In the meantime, other things happen in the show today. We'll talk a little bit about winter weather safety, take a look back at a discussion we had with Fitchburg EMS's own Jeff Doslick, plus check in with the mayor, an updated mayor update for you. Updated mayor update. Say that 10 times fast. We'll have that for you coming up here in a little bit. But first, we turned to some news coming in today from the Fitchburg Police Department. And it says they're pleased to announce their promotion of Officer Lisa Heitman to the rank of lieutenant. Prior to joining the Fitchburg Police Department in 2017, Lieutenant Heitman worked for the United States Attorney's Office and served in the United States Air Force, where she made the rank of captain. Lieutenant Heitman. Is it Heitman? Heitman? I said it right the first time. Will take her oath of office tomorrow, February 18th, during a brief ceremony in the Fitchburg City Hall Council chambers. Ceremony is open to the public, starting at 9:30 a.m. We will have that for you live on Fact TV. Sports update for you. We have sports happening tomorrow night. If you're interested in watching, we'll be covering girls basketball tomorrow night. That's right. Or is it boys basketball tomorrow night? My bad. We'll be hosting Beloit Wildcats live at 7:15 p.m. For tip-off there at the high school field house. So if you are interested in watching that game, kick off at 7:15 right here on the comm channel of Fact TV. Your polling place may have moved since the last election, and Mayor will be talking about that today, but I wanted to tell you how you can find out. And it's easy. All you got to do is go to the website myvote.wi.gov, and that's where you can find this information. And to confirm your polling place today in seconds. So you just fill out this information, hit search, and you are good to go. It's exactly where you'll be voting. Why it may have changed was the redistricting that happened late last year. So make sure you double check before you head out and vote so you don't find out you're at the wrong place for voting. Only snow should fall. This sounds really familiar. It's a fall prevention event coming up. Yes, this will be happening next week on Tuesday, February 22nd at 11:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Verona Senior Center. You can learn about fall prevention strategies. And this is an in-person event as it stands. Call to register 608-845-7471. And we'll share the link so you can check in, learn more about this when we post up the headlines today. In the field series, seed starting session is coming up. This event happening at Four Winds Farm at 5735 Adams Road in Fitchburg. It's $35. Includes tax and take-home materials. Join Lisa Johnson, horticulture outreach specialist with Dane County, as she leads the discussion teaching participants how to become more successful seed starters, but also have the opportunity to get their own hands dirty and take home some of the results. And to register for that or learn more, just go to info at fourwindsfarmfitchburg.com, and they'll get you signed up for that. All right, spot, stop, and report government imposter scams. Easy for me to say. Can't even say that. All right, from FTC, that's Federal Trade Commission. Got some tips here to stop those. They happen all the time, folks. And I like this. Spot it, stop it, report it. How many of you just hang up after? Have you ever considered reporting it? Well, big ones here is make sure that you stop and think before you act, right? So if they call you, you see an email, whatever the case may be, stop and think, is this really legit, right? because, yeah, it could be a fake scam. Scammers say it did not appear from a jury duty or must pay a fine or something like that, and you'll be arrested. They're threatening you. Those are things that our scammers do. Scammers may say that you'll be fined or deported for not paying your taxes or debt. They even say they're the government or the police department. We've heard of the local sheriff's one. And yeah, we want you to stop it and report it. Report those to the FTC. That's reportfraud.ftc.gov, or our friends at DATCP, and they will stop or help stop these scammers. There was 498 imposter scams reported in 2020, and that number is only, I'm sure, gone up. All right, that does it for our headlines. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about some winter safety. And that's next right here on Talking Fitchburg.
It takes all of us to slow the spread of the coronavirus. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and stay home unless absolutely necessary. Use a delivery service for essential items like food and medicine. If you must make essential trips, stay 6 feet apart from other people. Wear a cloth face covering and wash your hands for at least 20 seconds as often as possible. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantori here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
Hey, boss. Okay.
I said I'm fine.
Me the bed, see you in the morning with the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it, and we lost it. In my head, in my head, in my head. We were underlay in my head.
Hey, son.
Hey, Bob.
You know you can talk to me.
Yeah.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us.
Ready!
That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu. And especially this year, no one has time to get sick. Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining today from Fitch Rona EMS. Jeff Doslick. I wanted to say in the game, but you know it's EA,
In the game.
not EMS.
Doo-doo.
Close enough. Boom, indeed. Jeff, Happy New Year. Welcome to the show. How you doing today, sir?
Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you as well. It's good to be back.
Glad to have you here. And we're going to talk, given the time of season, winter weather safety. We just went through kind of a cold spell. We're on the warm up, but given it is, I'm going to just say it's the middle of winter. I don't whether it is or officially isn't, who cares? But we want to talk safety. And I think first and foremost, when people think winter safety, they automatically think about the cold weather and dressing up and whatnot. But what do you see first off, just for winter weather emergencies related to the cold weather? What are some of the transports or calls you would be going on?
Yeah, so typically we're going to see things like frostbite, hypothermia, just regular cold exposure. And there's a couple of things that you can do to eliminate or minimize some of those things. But I would say probably the top two are going to be the hypothermia from just being outside, and then frostbite from just not wearing the proper clothing, especially on your toes and on your fingers and your hands and nose and ears and stuff like that.
Well, let's talk about some of the ways of preventing it, and then just some of the warning signs where we may want to call 911 because we're in trouble.
Sure. So obviously, be prepared, kind of keep an eye out on the weather. Make sure that you understand what the cold exposure is going to be for the day. The wind chill factors, obviously, it could be 15 degrees outside with a wind chill factor of -20, so it's going to be obviously very cold outside. And just being prepared. So things that I would be concerned about, if you have young children, just making sure that they're dressed warm, making sure that they've got gloves and hats and boots, all that warm stuff that's going to keep them, and then try not to keep them out in the cold very long. I know, especially if, there's no school or kids are getting back to school, or maybe school's closed now for a while with the COVID stuff, that they're outside playing, that they're not outside too long, and that you keep an eye out on them. The other thing I think that is important is to make sure that your car, and that you're prepping in the event that something does happen on the side of the road. So if you were watching the news last week or the week before, when they had a big winter storm out east and all these cars were stuck up on the interstate, people were out there for an extended period of time, 24 hours plus. And while that doesn't happen that often, it certainly can. But little things like you're driving on a country road and you slip off the road with some ice, or slippery conditions, and now you're stuck for a while before you can have somebody come and get you. So making sure that you have a couple of warm blankets, extra stuff in your car for warming your hands or your feet, some water, something to drink, food, just like little snacks. And I remember one of the people that was interviewed on that out east incident asked how they survived for 24 hours, and she had actually had put some water in the car because they were just on a regular 4-hour trip, and had extra snacks available, which really kind of saved their bacon for 24 hours. So just thinking about all the things that could happen, and if you're sitting in that situation, how prepared you should be for that. Hats, hand warmers, the hand warmers that you can pick up at any of the stores that you can put in your gloves that'll warm up your hands and your feet. I think those things are important.
Yeah, and specifically on that one, I think of the vehicles that were running around you, and CO poisoning. Like, you never really hear that and happening in there. And certainly it's a storm, so maybe there was some wind and stuff. But even cracking your window a little bit and taking those precautions, or if you were in a snowbank or something, and making sure you're clear of that exhaust pipe out so you don't suffocate. Certainly, all other things related. And Jeff, at home, if you are stuck at home, and having a smoke detector, CO detector for monitoring, certainly important. But CO poisoning, real quick, if somebody's didn't have it, or the alarm goes off and they're feeling sick, what do you recommend that they're doing? Or besides calling 911, what would be some of those symptoms?
So if your CO detector goes off, I wouldn't take a chance that it's a battery or a mechanical problem. Call 911, evacuate the house as soon as you can. What we want to try and do is, we don't ask you to open up a whole bunch of windows and go through that process, because when the fire department gets there, the first thing we're going to do is put our detector in the door and see if there is CO. And then we can go around the house and try to figure out what's actually causing the problem. So just evacuate the home, go to a neighbor's. This is a case of being prepared, making sure you have boots and hats and all that stuff so that you can stand outside for a short period of time. And then, make sure you call 911 so that we can come in and check it out. If you're feeling those, you're just feeling sick, you're feeling lightheaded, the problem with CO is odorless and tasteless. So you don't know that it's happening. Don't take a chance on, well, I've just got, like, maybe it's the flu. If you have any sort of inkling that it could be CO, just call. And we will come and check it out. And then certainly, if there's a fix to it right away, we'll do that. And if you do have CO poisoning, then we'll take you to the hospital, make sure that you get checked out.
Yeah, it's something that we might not always think about during the cold weather season, or just, whatever part of the year. It's an important thing to talk about. Finally, I do think of falls in the wintertime definitely go up here in Wisconsin, unfortunately. So quickly, just a couple of fall safety tips for you, or that you could share with us to stay safe this winter.
Yep. Don't fall. That would be a good safety tip.
Don't fall. You heard it right here first. Yeah.
Right. Rocket science over on this side. Just being prepared. A lot of stuff that we talk about here is kind of awareness of what we should be doing all the time, but just being aware of, what could be slippery, what maybe looks slippery, and taking your time. There really isn't any reason to run through a parking lot to get to your car, even if it's snowing outside, or if you don't have a chance to shovel in the morning before you leave the house. Using handrails that are built to, just kind of shuffling your feet as you're walking you are in conditions. And if you do happen to fall, and obviously if you're injured, make sure that, you call 911, we can come and check you out. Especially those are patients that are anticoagulated. So you're taking Eliquis or Coumadin, something like that, especially if you happen to hit your head. Those are definitely reasons for you to go to the hospital and be checked out, even though you might think that it's minor. It's really not that minor. So make sure that you, call 911 and have somebody come and check you out if that's the case. And again, being prepared, like I know that, because I'm a paramedic, I happen to run outside in my car and I don't always throw my coat on, and my gloves are in my pocket, or they're maybe in the car somewhere because I just don't think about that. But if you happen to fall and you're not prepared, now you're laying outside. And if you're an older adult and you can't get up, or any adult for that matter, if you can't get up, now you're sitting out in the middle of your driveway somewhere with no protection at all, and it's 5 below 0 wind chill factor. So just making sure that, and check your neighbors. I think the one thing we should talk about is making sure that you're keeping an eye out on your neighbors. For CO reasons, if for some reason you don't see them and their cars are in the driveway, if they're older adults that they have all the things that they need. A lot of times older adults, to save money, will turn their heat down, to make sure that they're staying warm and they're having food and all that kind of stuff. And certainly, if it's something you're uncomfortable with and you think that there's an issue, you can always call 911. We can always do a welfare check. I'm kind of speaking on behalf of the police department now, but if we need to do a welfare check and get services to some of the people that are out there, please don't hesitate to do that, because really the last thing we want is somebody to be hungry and to be cold and to be lonely. And so those are things that we need to pay attention to.
All right, Jeff. Well, thank you so much for the great tips. Certainly follow the Facebook page and website for Fitchrona, because you're looking at the guy right here on the screen that updates it periodically. So, Jeff, we appreciate your time as always. We'll check in with you again real soon.
Okay, my pleasure. Have a good day.
All right. You as well. Fitchrona EMS doing a great job out there, and take extra steps to be ready all year long, but especially here in these cold times. Take a quick break. More to come. You're watching TF.
You could be spreading the coronavirus without realizing you have it. So follow guidance from authorities where you live and do your part. It's important to limit in-person interaction with anyone outside of your immediate household, but phone and video chat are safe ways to connect. It's also important to limit any social gathering. This advice applies to people of any age, including teens and younger adults. Visit coronavirus.gov for the latest information.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
We're all just trying to keep things running for those who rely on us. That's why we don't have time to be sick with the flu.
We don't have time for delays.
We don't have time for spills. Next.
We don't have time for setbacks. Let's be real.
Getting the flu shot
helps you fight the flu.
Get a flu shot for yourself and those around you too.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today from the city of Fitchburg, your mayor, Aaron Richardson. Aaron, welcome back to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Thank you for being on the show, and I'm doing well. We changed your timing here, so we're talking to you a little bit earlier in the month than usual, but you have so many good things to talk about, so it's actually works out in our favor and yours to talk about what's going on in Fitchburg. And we got a lot to get to. We're going to start with the investment plan. Just had the public hearing on your proposed plan. Where are we going next?
So the next step is, you can see it on our website. It's out there. You can look at all the great things I would like to do. And now council members can submit amendments. So if they want to add things, if there's something on there that they'd want to take away, they can submit those amendments. And those are due in the next few days here. Once those are in, then we'll talk about those as a council and vote on whether or not we want to add those or remove stuff if possible. It's a little different. I think we talked about this last time, where we don't have to hit a certain number. We can be a little bit above what we have allocated. And with all the different programs and grants and things going out there right now, it's very possible that we'll be able to utilize some of those for some of these projects, and so that we will actually be able to do those things. I mean, that's the hope anyway, is we'll be able to do some of those things that we didn't think we could.
Yeah, absolutely. And then after the plan is adopted, what is the next step? Because I think that might be the question here is like, there are a lot of projects. You don't expect them to get done all right away, but what will people hear about after this?
Well, I think there might be a few things that we tried to get approval for right away, things that we had planned to do in this budget, but had gotten pushed back. And so we want to get that okayed through the council. And so we'll do some of those things. But then a lot of those things are also going to be then included in the CIP, the capital improvement plan. And so they'll be put in there, which then goes to the operating budget, which gets approved in the fall. Like you said, we're not going to do everything next year. We'll do some stuff for sure, but it's just too much to expect to do all that at once. So we'll have a lot of opportunities for people to weigh in before we get to October, November, when we actually approve the final overall project. But it's a long process, and it's an important process. And it's really the most important thing we do is figure out what the budget is.
Absolutely. And we'll keep you all up to date on that as CIP has started, and which capital improvement project for next year. So it'll be a busy time here for city staff and yourself, but we'll be getting the details out soon. Changing gears to election season is coming up. No primary here this year in Fitchburg, but still have election going on. Give us some of the details of the upcoming elections.
Yeah, I know the clerk's department's pretty happy about not having to do a primary. It's a lot of work for them. So good for them. They've had a rough couple of years with COVID, so that's all right. But the April will be the main election for Fitchburg. The city council only has one contested seat, and that's in District 1. We've got 2 people vying for that seat. Otherwise, the county board, there's no contested seats. I think there might be some school board seats that are contested. I'm not sure about all the school boards myself, to be honest, but most of it is not going to be contested, which is okay. You should still get out and vote. Lots of things out there. It's a good habit to have because there's going to be more elections this year. There's going to be a primary again in August, and then November is the midterm elections. And so that's a really big one as well. So it always helps to, if you want to do absentee ballot, you can sign up for all those right away for the whole year and just get in that habit. It's a good habit to do. And we were pretty lucky to have a democracy where we can vote.
Absolutely. We got a great staff there in the clerk's department, and all of the election inspectors, workers. They do a great job, and glad to have them back as well. New polling locations, some changes in that front. What do you know?
Yeah, so right now all 4 places are the same, but who votes at the place is a lot different. District 1 will still be the same, Little John's, but it is a bigger district now. And so there are some people who live north of McKee Road that are actually now in District 1, so they'll be voting out there. And then the other polling places are the same. However, it's just changing who votes at those locations. And so most people will actually be changing where they vote. We will be sending out a postcard in March, just a little bit before the election, to remind people and to let them know where they go, because that's a big piece to it as well. And so we're required to do that, but we do that anyway. And hopefully the Star will have something in there as well. But that's a big thing, is we don't want people to show up at the wrong place the day of the election, because those will still be polling places. It's just, well, it's changed for most people. There's a few people that have changed districts, and so they might be in the same spot, but most people in the city will be at a different spot.
Yeah, this was all part of the district mapping, redistricting mapping that happened earlier in the season, earlier in the year, or late last year, I should say, really, that finished up. So part of that. But yes, we'll continue to get the word out here from the city's sake, and make sure everybody gets to the right place. Finally, quickly, transportation update, Mayor, from council. We heard a little bit about this at council, but tell us what you know.
Yeah, last night we approved extending our contract and agreement with Massa Metro for bus service. They are in the process of evaluating all the routes throughout the whole network, actually. So there might be some changes to service, and that's something that they're bringing forward. But I mean, this is on transportation, something that we're always going to have. We need to have bus service. That's a core service for me, something that we're always going to have. We were just evaluating the options with Madison Metro. And so happy to say that we are going to continue that with minimal increases year over year. They might change some routes, though. That's the one thing that we're not quite sure about at this point in time. There are some routes that get used a lot more than others, and a couple of them that aren't used a whole lot. They might take those away, but then have more frequent service on some of the other routes that are popular, so that instead of maybe every hour, it's every half hour. Instead of every half an hour, maybe it's every 15 minutes. And so we'll have the same, they call them service hours. So we'll have the same amount of time running, but it might not be on all the same routes. And so they're doing that's right now to really figure out what's the most efficient way for them to provide service. We don't have a lot to say in that. Obviously, it'd be great to have the bus service go throughout the entire city, but unfortunately, it's just not feasible. It's expensive. And if only one person a day is using a route, unfortunately for that person, it's just not the best use of resources. If we can put that somewhere else where a lot of people are using it, unfortunately, we have to do that.
Yeah, and we'll keep updating as things come up on the changes from Madison Metro, and they adjust all the time. I mean, yes, they definitely reevaluate constantly as well, but at a bigger scope right now, if you will, and we'll keep you up to date on those changes as well. All right, Aaron, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. We'll check back in with you next month.
Thanks for having me. See you next month.
Sounds good. Your Mayor, Aaron Richardson, and all the details of stuff we've talked about, we continue to talk about here on Talking Fitchburg. You can check our city's website, fitchburgwi.gov, for more information. Take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.
See on page 4 that the projections need to be flood next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So
I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Type 2 diabetes can have a big impact on your life, but how can it be prevented? Well, the first step is knowing if you have prediabetes, a serious medical condition that puts you at high risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults has prediabetes, but more than 80% don't know they have it. The good news is, prediabetes can be reversed, and for many people, healthy changes in their daily routine can make a big difference. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Severe weather can strike anytime, anywhere, but there's a simple way to stay safe. Hey, Jim Cantore here. I stay safe in dangerous weather by planning ahead. You can stay safe too with a few easy steps. Build an inexpensive kit with supplies for your family's needs. Write down important information like phone numbers and medications. Always talk with your family, and remember any pets in your planning. Be ready, be safe. Start your plan today at ready.gov/plan.
If you love them enough to suck the snot out of their nose at 4 a.m., then surely you'll check NHTSA.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Wrapping up the show for today. I want to thank Mayor Aaron Richardson for joining me give you an update of what's going on. That interview will be posted up online, and the stuff we discussed today you can find at our website. You know where it is, fitchburgwi.gov. For as many times as I say it, we should record it, something cool, so we can just put that. Andrew, you work on that. That'd be great. Have a great day, everybody.